Anime. It's the fabric that brings people together, forms communities, and exposes your friends' terrible taste in waifus.
Seriously? Asuna, you basic bitch?
But what do you do when you love anime, but are also an elitist Linux user that needs to prove to everyone in your friend group that you're better at computers than them? Well, that's where this little program called AnyCLI comes in. AnyCLI is exactly what it says on the tin. It's anime with a command line interface. So what does it do? Basically, it lets you watch anime videos from your terminal. Now, why would you want this? Mostly because it looks cool. That's about it. The way it works is that it needs for you to have the video player MPV or VLC installed. Then you install AnyCLI. The way you do this varies depending on your operating system. In my case, I'll be using the manual instructions, but the GitHub page will be linked below with instructions for Windows and other Linux distributions. And hey, while you're down there, why not give the channel a sub? It really helps out. So once we have AnyCLI installed, we can launch it from a terminal or in Windows cases, PowerShell. How you do that is going to be very depending on how your computer is set up. In my case, I hold the Windows or Meta or Super key, depending on what you're using, and then press T. And here we are. We have our terminal. And all you have to do once you have those programs installed is type in any-CLI. Press enter. Now it's going to search for an anime. We're going to use for our example, Cowboy Bebop. Hit enter, and there we are. You'll see you got this list of things right here. 1, 2, 3. These are your different choices for things that fall under that name, Cowboy Bebop. We've got Cowboy Bebop and then the two specials or OVAs or movies. I'm not 100% sure what these are. I haven't seen either of these. I've just watched this. And then you can go through and select it. Use the arrow keys to scroll through what your options are. And then you can also type in a number. So say you want to go to option 2, type 2, it'll just go to 2. It'll go to anything with a 2 in it. Or say option 3, it'll go to option 3. Hit enter, you've got your now episode selection. Same controls as before. Arrow keys are going to let you scroll through and find what episode you want. Enter will let you select, or you can type in an exact episode that you want. In our case, we're just going to play episode 1. And we're not actually going to play it, but when you click play, it starts searching through links. It's going to find whatever it is that it's looking for, and then it's going to open MPV and play the video. There we are. Now, I'm not going to play this for copyright reasons, but you're just going to let this play, watch your anime, and enjoy. All done? Great. Now let's get to how we can watch more anime. When your episode ends, you'll be given a list of options. Let's close this out. You've got your list of options. You can either play the next episode, replay what you just watched, see the previous episode if there is one, select a specific episode from that list of episodes we saw earlier, change the video quality, or you can quit the program. Pretty self-explanatory menu, but you might have noticed something. The whole thing has been locked to subs if you've been going through and checking out your stuff on your own. Well, that's because by default, it chooses to use the subs for all the shows. If you want to watch stuff in dub, what you have to do is type in any-CLI -dub, and then you can type in the name of your show you want, or you can bring up the search page. You can also type, because you can type directly into the command line. There we go, Cowboy Bebop. And then it'll automatically search for all dubs with Cowboy Bebop in the name. So you can watch episode 1, it's going to search through wherever it's hosting it, and it's going to grab the anime. And again, not going to play it, but this is the dub version. I can promise you that this is the dub version. Close it back out, and there's some other flags you can use as well. So if we queue it now, we can use any-CLI-Q, and this will let you choose the default quality. By default, it is set to best quality, but you can set either 360, 480, 720, 1080, worst, best. I think that's all the options. Now I'm going to leave it just on the default because I think going by best is the best option, but you may want something in a lower resolution. There is also a flag where you can download the episode. I believe it's like -- download or something. I haven't used it, so I don't know how well it works, but it is there. The option's there if you want it. I personally don't really see a need if you're already streaming it to your computer. You clearly have an internet connection, but hey, maybe there's a use case where you do want to download it. Now, supposedly, you're supposed to also be able to directly select an episode with the -E flag. So if you do any-CLI Cowboy. Whoop. Cowboy Bebop dash E2. This is supposed to take you to Cowboy Bebop episode 2. But what it always ends up doing is bringing up all the shows and you have to select the episode anyway. It's supposed to let you do that. I don't know why I can't get it to work right, but hey, if you figure out a way to do it and maybe there's just something I'm missing, maybe it's because there are just shows that have other things, maybe you have to include the number. I personally haven't figured out how to get this specific command to work, but oh. Well, hey, there we go. It did work. It does let you skip straight to the episode. You just still have to select the show. If there are multiple shows with that name, it'll just jump to whatever episode you select. So it does actually work. I'm just dumb. But the last little feature that it has is something called sync play. I've never been able to get this to work. What it's supposed to let you do is set up a server that you and your friends can all connect to, and it'll sync up your anime episodes so you can watch together at the same time, which is really cool. However, I've never been able to get it to set up right. You have to install a separate program called sync play to get it to work. And it's a mess. It really is a mess. Everyone else, I think, also has to have this installed, and you also have to figure out how to set it up with your video player, like VLC, or with MPV, which is something I actually need to go into. If you want to use VLC, you actually have to type in Annie-CLI-V. Otherwise, it will use MPV by default every time. Now, I think there is a way in a config file to change it to default to VLC, and I think on Windows it does default to VLC, but if you're on Linux or Mac or whatever, you will need to use the -V command if you want to use VLC. But once you do that, Cowboy Bebop, we're going to go through, choose this, I'm going to choose episode 1 again, and now it's going to open up with VLC, which is on my other monitor. But you can see it's opening with VLC, and there's your episode. I prefer using MPV for this, mostly because it does the right aspect ratio. It doesn't give me those giant black bars. If I'm watching a show that's like 480p, I'm fine with it being windowed. I can move it around. I kind of like that, actually. So for me, I actually prefer using MPV for this sort of stuff. But I do have both for different use cases. And as cool as all of this is, there are a few things I wish it would do. For one thing, I wish it would let me use official streaming services instead of whatever go-go anime bullshit that is. I don't know what go-go anime is. I wish I could use like Crunchyroll, Funimation, HiDive, those sort of things. I wish I could pull for them with like via my account authentication token or something like that. Because I'd want it to update my watch list. That would be cool. And also, the official streaming services that you pay for tend to have better quality, and I like the best quality I can get. Yes, I can watch stuff in 1080p on this, but 1080p with a low bit rate, I'd rather have 1080p with a high bit rate that I can get on Crunchyroll. That was a really weird way to explain that. Basically, some of the third-party sites that you can watch anime on, they'll have like watermarks and they'll be recorded at a low bit rate, even though they're technically 1080p. I would rather watch the show where it's officially streaming, like Crunchyroll, which tends to have a much higher bit rate and just looks better at the same resolution. It would also be really nice to update my watch list for really long shows like One Piece. I've been watching all of One Piece and it is long. I am in the 800s, and if it wasn't for the watch list feature on stuff like Crunchyroll, I would have lost my place so many times. It is a long show. Having that watch list would be really nice if it could be updated. So like say I'm using this to watch a couple episodes of One Piece and then I go back to Crunchyroll on another device. I'm like, oh crap, what episodes did I watch? I didn't pay attention to the number. I just kept hitting next episode like I tend to do. So overall, I think this is a really neat, albeit niche little program, but it's super cool. It's something that I don't really use super often, but hey, maybe you do. Leave a comment down below. Would you use this? Is this something you think would be interesting? Or would you rather just watch in a browser like I usually do? I just go into Crunchyroll, watch whatever the fuck's on there. Hey, if you know how to code, maybe you can make a pull request adding in that stuff I mentioned earlier about Crunchyroll and HiDive with authentication tokens. That'd be super cool. If you want to support me, you can check out over on my Patreon. You can send me like $1 or $5 or something. I don't know. If you feel like it. But hey, while you're down there, make sure you punch the like button in the face hard. Make it hurt. It doesn't deserve to... I got really mean for like 2 seconds there, and I don't know why. But social media is all that's down below. Mastodon, Matrix, Twitter, Discord, whatever you want to use. Just check me out, I guess. And that's gonna be it. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.